Untold Truth every Friday at 6 p.m. The journey has just begun with Master Eric. Zalisa. A new kind of podcast getting to the root of hidden knowledge. You can join us on Facebook, Conversation with the Zalisa, and YouTube, Master Eric. Your journey has just begun.
Welcome to another edition of the program, The Untold Truths, broadcasting from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. A very warm welcome to those of you here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, regionally and internationally. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Good evening, everyone. Sitaram, Assalamu Alaikum, Sairam, and good evening. You know, we're sorry we wasn't here last week. I think the week before too. And we got a lot of calls and they're saying, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? You know, there wasn't nothing going on. There were pre-commitments that we really could not miss. And there were deadlines to make. So we want to apologize on that. And I also want to say thank you for all those new viewers that we're getting internationally. Zalisa, I don't know, I forgot to tell you today, you know, so far we got like 160,000 views.
Wow.
On the commercial worldwide. So there's going to be new people locking on. And if you would, just go ahead and subscribe. And when you subscribe, you'll get the ping when we come on or when there's a new video. I'm also presently working on a new movie. I'm writing the script now. We're going to do the recording, and then we're going to set it up for the production team. So that'll be coming out probably in another month or so. So we want to thank you for the support. And again, I keep asking every time, if you have a topic that you would like to know more about, or you've asked the question, but the question was never answered. And Zalisa, the other day, this lady went to her church and she asked a question. And they said, you need to stop talking like that. That's blasphemy on God.
By asking a question.
Asking a question. So if you don't get your answer there, you ask it here. And we're going to research it and we'll get you the facts and where we referenced it. And we'll do the topic on it.
And what is important for you to understand is when you ask a question, it's because you're seeking knowledge, you're seeking answers. And that's what we're here to do, answer those unanswered questions with regards to the untold truths. And Master Eric will be speaking to us today about what is being spiritually tied. And if you may have any questions or at any time during this podcast, please feel free to send your messages, your concerns to 1-868-354-4459. That's 1-868-354-4459. You can also send your messages to 1-868-497-7226. 1-868-497-7226. Now, I want to remind you, these are numbers also if you would like to visit, whether you're here in Trinidad and Tobago or wherever you may be. Recently, Master Eric, you've had some clients that came in from Canada and North America and things like that. So all you've got to do is connect with these numbers, send your messages, and make the necessary arrangements to visit Master Eric's offices. There are 2 office locations now. One in San Fernando, beautiful Southland, opposite Palmis Park, and now brand new in Central, conveniently located on Monroe Road, right? And that's right opposite Lucas Supermarket.
Yeah, not far at all. But you know, I want to thank those people. I had 6 people that came from Canada.
Nice.
In the last month. I had people from Chicago, people from New York, and people from Miami. So people are listening. We did the actual consultation over WhatsApp video.
Brilliant.
and we actually figured out their problem. And so they flew down, and we did what we had to do.
Right.
And we had them back out in a week.
Brilliant.
And they're good to go. So I want to say thank you to them people, because think about it, Zelisa. They see somebody on podcast or on your TV show, and we could be saying anything,
Yeah.
technically, but they felt that we were real.
Correct.
So they took that chance, made the appointment, we had the interview. Now they took a chance by buying a ticket
Yes.
and flying down to
Yes.
somebody they don't know.
Correct.
So that showed me, and I want to say thank you. You know, you're actually seeing that we're just not here blowing smoke. We're actually here trying to help and trying to give you information and knowledge. So the reason I wanted to do this topic tonight, Zelisa, this is a problem that's becoming rampant.
Yeah.
Years ago, we never had this many cases. We've never ran into the spike of the percentage of being spiritually tied cases, just right here in Trinidad. Now, the people who came in, 2 out of all them were tied. So it's just not here. This is happening worldwide. But it's less in the North America continents per capita. Okay? Now, we're seeing a big rise in the being spiritually tied. We're seeing a big rise in child possession. Well, now when I talk possession, people, I'm talking demonic possession. And these are little kids. These are kids from 11 years old down. And this is not normal. So everybody in the world should be just sitting back now and saying, hey, what's going on? Okay, what are we as people on earth, what are we doing wrong? You know, because kids are innocent.
Correct.
And that's why in the past, 10 years ago, there was one in a blue moon. Now we're getting 3 or 4 per month. Now, this is telling you there is a problem.
Correct.
What we're doing. So, people, I want to, I know you asked me earlier, so do you want to ask your question now?
Yes, because I think it's important. I mean, our topic today, we're
Yeah.
talking about what is being spiritually tied. For the benefit of those who are saying, well, what is spiritually tied? Give us an explanation. So, can you define for us exactly what do you mean by when you say spiritually tied? You know, can you give us an explanation so that we can have a greater understanding of what that means?
Right, so I'll break it down into layman's terms.
Great.
Okay, being spiritually tied is where someone who wants to get vengeance, or they are just out to get you, period. They don't want you to go anywhere. They'll go to a spiritual leader. And that spiritual leader will spiritually tie you to where, one, you cannot, okay, I think the best way to do it, let's go over the symptoms.
Okay.
And then people will start saying, okay, now I
This is
understand
how-
what you're
yes,
saying.
Yeah, they could relate to that.
Okay, but again, they go to a spiritual person. And those people dabble on both sides. So some people do some of the good, and those same people do bad. Now, the reason they do bad, there's a lot more money in it. There's a tremendous amount of money. Now, being spiritually tied. Now, I don't want you listening tonight, hear these symptoms, and then go into a panic.
Okay.
That's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is give you the signs that if you do have 5 out of 6, then you need to call and message. But if you only have 2, there could be reasons for that. So the first one, When you make $100 in your currency, and something, as soon as you get that money, as soon as you get it, something comes up and makes you pay out more than what you make. And it's continuously, not just once or twice or 3 times. It is consistent. That's symptom 1.
Okay.
Symptom 2. No matter what you do in life, no matter how hard you try to move forward, you can't. You try to move backward, left or right, you can't. It seems like you are stuck in the same position, no matter how hard you try to move forward. That's symptom 2. Now, when it comes to finances, I was talking about the money. You know that we just came out of COVID, and some of the economies are still slow. So, you got to look at beyond what is the norm in the condition that you're in now. Now, arguments, quarreling, start to escalate within the family that you're living in the same house. It will escalate to where you're arguing about the most stupid little thing there is. That's a symptom. Now, let's say you woke up one morning and you said, you know what, I want to start a little business tonight or tomorrow. And you already know where the location would be because you got a little space in front of your house. Now, people, I'm referencing like down here in Trinidad, where we have small little properties and they have a little mini mart and a little shop in front.
SBC.
Right. And let's say you wanted to start. Now, in the States and elsewhere, you know a location. And you know what it takes. You know what business you want to do. You know what goods you need. And everything seems like a piece of cake. But when you move forward to start to get that movement going, it feels like a rubber band pulls you right back to where you are, where you started. And even if you're doing repairs on your home, anything like this, it's going to happen. Now, being tied. Also, at the beginning of the tie, you will start to feel like there's a silent wedge being put between you and your spouse. And you'll start to feel this parting. And it's going to continue until the arguments get so bad that one of you wants to call it quits. That's another symptom. Now, if you're not married, if you're spiritually tied, oh, God help you. Relationships will be 0. Now, what I mean by that, if somebody is interested in you, you may start for a week. After a week, it dissolves.
No progress.
It's gone. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand. And then this starts playing Zalise on people's minds because they're like, why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And technically there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? Now, I can't say you're perfect, but nobody's perfect.
Correct.
But you got to look for these signs that are going to give you the answer. Now, another great symptom. Normally when people come in, Zalisa, now, people beware. Since I'm putting this on air, there's going to be people memorizing the questions that I'm asking. And they're going to go around and start telling you, oh, you're tied, right? Get a second opinion.
Be very careful.
Okay, because they're going to take your money. They're going to take your money. There's only one person in this country that I know besides me that can do an untie.
Okay.
The rest of them, they're all, I don't know what you call them.
Okay.
Gimmicks.
Just please be careful.
Yeah, just be careful.
Lots
Okay.
of frauds out there.
Now, one big thing that you also have to look at, regardless of who you pray to. Now, when people come and see me, I can actually see how long you've been tied and who did it. Okay? Now, when that happens, let's say somebody came in and I see that it's been 2.5 years and the people haven't said anything, right? Then I'll say, okay, I want you to think back now. Between 2.5 years, but at 2.5 years and before, how did it feel when you prayed? And they say, oh, wow, great. It was great then. It was like their hair would raise on their body. They felt calmness. They felt the presence of something. And I said, great. But right now, you haven't felt that in the last 2 years. Better yet, you're to the point to where you don't even feel to pray anymore. And they all say, you're exactly right. Because a spiritual tie, what it does when they tie you. Now, I want you to understand something. Being spiritually tied isn't meant to kill you. It's not. I don't want to mix this up with demonic and all of this. It is meant to keep you down, to
hold you.
keep you by yourself, to where you cannot progress in any avenue of your life.
Okay, so allow me to ask. I understand when you talk about holding you back with regards to you're working hard and you can't pay, you're just going around in circles, your bank, there's nothing you could deposit. You're living paycheck to paycheck. There's no growth, there's no success, there's no expansion. You want to do things, but you just can't see. You're going around in circles rather than move step up. So I understand that aspect. In terms of relationships now,
Right.
because a lot of people call and ask about problems with relationships with husbands and wives being unfaithful and and that seems to be a very big problem, and you know that. So can someone then break a marriage
Quick. Very
or
quick.
hold somebody spiritually tie somebody so that they can be with them or be attracted to them and not their spouse?
No.
Okay, good.
Now, this is a great question. Why? This is why when you go to somebody for help, they need to have many years of experience. Because a lot of symptoms are close to each one. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what you're talking about is if you have a spouse or a girlfriend. Right? Let me see if I get your question straight. And then all of a sudden they are drawn to somebody else? Is that what you're saying?
So you have let's say you have your wife and your husband, and then the husband is drawn to somebody else. Is it because
he's not paying the wife no right?
Is it because then that person who he's perhaps having an affair with could go to someone to say, I'm going to hold you spiritually?
No.
Is that?
That would not be spiritually tied.
Okay.
What that would be is spiritual infatuation.
Wow.
Okay?
Thanks for that definition.
Now, that is being chronic right now too.
Yeah.
Because people, you need to be careful. Okay? And when you start looking at all these definitions, you have to look at what is happening. Now, being infatuated is where someone wants you,
Right.
but you're with somebody
Yeah.
and you're happy,
You're happy in your marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
but they want you
Yeah.
no matter what it costs.
Yeah.
They want you to be with them.
Right.
So they will come up to you There's a couple things you have to understand, people. Is that, one, don't eat from just anyone. Okay? The old people in a lot of countries, because I've been to at least 90 countries because I was in the military, and all the old people always said, do not eat from just anyone.
Yeah.
Know who you're eating for. Eat from home.
That's a rule that I've
Right? Another thing, the reason is there is a powder substance that they can mix and drop into the food. And mix it up into the food while they're cooking. You're not going to taste it. And now they come and serve you. Now, all of a sudden, if you were the woman and that was done to the man, all he can do now is only think of that person. He won't even hardly acknowledge you. Now, one symptom to look at that, to determine, is it an affair or is it infatuation, where they are controlling you? So one of the symptoms to look for, and what I look for right away, is the person's eyes. The person's eyes will be cloudy. It won't be bright and shiny. It won't. Okay? Then, when you mention that person's name, they will give you a cut eye and they will look off. They will act like they've never even heard you mention that name.
Okay.
That's at the beginning of infatuation.
Okay, good.
So we've had a lot of those cases where, I'll mention one in the north. I was living in townhouses back then.
Yeah.
And I went on a trip. And when I was in the trip, they called me, my neighbor, and he was crying. I said, what happened? He said, yesterday, the kids and his wife was playing in the front yard. And this car pulled up on the outside. And this guy from a different race stood out and asked her for directions. When she walked up closer, he mumbled something to her. Do you know the next morning, he pulled up and said, get in the car, it's time to go. She left the kids, left his wife. He was asking her, what are you doing? She didn't even hear him. And he told me, fly in. So I did an emergency flight back.
What?
And I had to do what they call a cut. And he asked me, how fast is this going to work? And I said, it depends on how much of your heart, mind, and soul you put into this cut. Do you know the next day she came back on her free will and said she can't remember nothing? So it could be uttered to you.
Right.
Another thing you don't do.
So food by food and then verbally. Okay.
Another thing you do not do. Do not let people touch your back. You know how people like to come and pat you on the back?
Yeah.
Right? And if you're a female, never let people touch your hair. Because I want to let you know something. Your hair has all your DNA in it. It has your energy in it. It is so easy to put this inside of you and take control of you. Okay? So we don't want to get it mixed up between a tie and an actual infatuation.
Understood. Good. Excellent.
Now,
should we go to a question? A question just came in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, Master Eric. I have a sister who had her job, vehicle, studying accounting, and had a boyfriend. However, all of that came to an end about 4 to 5 years ago. Vehicle got in an accident, and she never drove since. She lost her job and never worked since. She started failing in all of her exams and never went back to class since her relationship ended and never dated again. That was since 2017 to 2018. She never came out of the house since. No matter how much we try, she just lashes out and stays in her room. Could this be a case of what the topic is today? And the answer is yes. I don't know where you're from, but if you're within the country or even outside of the country, tomorrow, give us a call tomorrow morning. Give us a call at 1-868-354-4459 on WhatsApp, so it don't cost you. And if you cannot get us, because tomorrow, I'm going to be honest, I'll be taking demons out of a house. So we don't have our phones on during that time.
Right.
So if you don't get us, send us a message, just like you did tonight. Okay? And we will get back to you. All right? But this is something, and you didn't say how old she was, but she doesn't sound like she's too old. So a person her age should not be in the house all the time. She's secluded herself. She's reverted. So I want you to understand, people will tie you for the littlest reasons. It could be that they're jealous of you. I've had cases to where the teenager was number one in the class. And you know, parents are so competitive that they will go and tie your son.
Wow.
So he will not be number one and their child can be number one.
Wow.
Look at jobs.
Yeah.
People want promotion, but they will tie you so that all of a sudden, even though you're doing most of the work, it seems like you're invisible to the boss. And everybody else gets promoted than you. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that the world has changed people. And it used to be that if you work hard, you reap and reward what you do. But nowadays, people don't want to work.
No.
So they want things the easiest way. Now, here's another example of what's being done. Land, property. Now, you're going to court. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like to you, your attorney has went totally mad because he's going against everything you're saying. It seems like he's working for the opponents that's actually going to court for the land. Well, you might be tied. See, now, I can't say where, but 7, 8 years ago, when I went into court, I was viewing a case. I wasn't in the case. And I watched the judge. And I said, oh my God. So I told the judge, I said, oh, he wrote back, she is 37 years old now. Sir, you need to get protection.
You told the judge this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not during the court case.
I know after.
It was after. And he laughed. He said, what do you mean? And I said, these people are doing blood prayers. If you do not watch your back and you don't do what they want, you're in trouble.
You know,
Do you know the next month he died of a massive heart attack?
Master Eric, you know, I have been seeing and noticing ads where people are saying, yeah, you have a court case, call us.
Yep.
Clearly, what you've just explained fits. You follow? That there are people out there who are doing wrong things. Because
Correct.
that's not something that's right or legal. That they are saying to you, well, I can help you win a court case. So you murder somebody or you kill somebody or you rape somebody out there and they're just taking you to help you to win a case. Understand what I'm saying? So you're very correct.
No, it happens. And this is what you got to be aware of. You're going to
Please.
see ads all over, social media,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to say, bring your loved one back. 100% guaranteed. Well, anybody that's in spirituality, you can never give 100% guarantee. Why? There's a lot of factors involved. One, when people come to see us, sometimes they don't tell us all the truth. So there's karma playing in there.
Oh.
Now, a
They
spiritual
tell-
leader is not able or not supposed to interfere in a person's karma. Because if you do, that spiritual person inherits that karma. That's a number one rule. So when they say guaranteed 100%, you know, I would think twice. Okay? What you have to look for is the person's success rate. Get references. If they're able to give references, give references.
Correct.
Okay, do your little due diligence. Don't let them play on your emotions and desperation.
Correct.
And that's what they do. All right? So now, you're a couple, and you start feeling that wedge start to be drawn between you. And then you start feeling like you're living like roommates. Now, when it's time to have that closeness in that special place, relations, something is guaranteed going to come up and keep one of you from doing it.
Oh.
There'll be an argument right there at that moment. Okay, because why? Being spiritually tied, they do not want you
Right.
to be in that position. They want you to stay right where you are. Now, I had a person that flew in, and one of her symptoms was she had a great company. She had a great company. All of a sudden, all the partners, business clients, vendors, contractors would not do business with her. Just dropped. And then when she came down and I explained to her, and I'll explain to you, when you make up your mind to be spiritually untied, there's conditions you have to do. One, you have to promise not to get vengeful to the people who did it to you. Why? It's not your problem if you're untied. Your time at that moment is to start looking forward. You're looking positive. You do not dwell on the past. But what it did do, it let you know, stay your distance. Know who they are, but stay your distance. You are not allowed to inflict any harm on nobody else. I want you to understand, God don't sleep. Let God
Okay.
do it in His own
Okay.
time.
Let go, let be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Start looking positive. So when that lady was done, she stayed here, I think 4 days later. She was going to fly back. She came 2 days later, and she said, Master, I want to tell you something. I said, what's that? She said, you know about those clients that I was telling you that just dropped me? Out of the blue, while I'm here in Trinidad, they called me and said they're ready to sign contracts. The reason is, and I know she's listening tonight, so I want to say hello. The reason is, she's untied. That bond is totally broke. That rope that ties you is broke. Go ahead.
There's an old saying in Trinidad that if you're having spiritual problems, if you cross water,
That is nonsense.
good.
Okay?
Because we hear it, right, Anais? We hear cross waters. You know, once you cross salt water, you're good to go, right?
Well, I could show them hundreds and hundreds of cases to where people thought by migrating to another country would solve the problem. And, well, this wasn't being tied.
No, I think what
This
you're
was
saying,
demonic.
Master Eric, what you are saying is talking volumes. The reason I'm saying that many people, because of problems, they would have a family problem and land and animosity and jealousy and whatever, pack up and leave and they go. And they don't even blossom there. So that in itself says that they could have had some spiritual tie or some whatever problems, and they go and they still have the problems, and they never got it solved.
Right.
And the reason why I brought up that old talk that people say when you cross is because you really, if you're encountering problems, you need to get help. You don't just take talk and say, well, okay, if you cross salt water. No, and I keep saying to people who feel, you see that nonsense they're talking about, I don't believe in that. That don't work. The point I'm trying to bring to you, because I used to be like you, those non-believers, because saying nothing can harm me, nothing will do. But until I met Pastor Eric and I realized that there is a spiritual world and people could be evil and people could be bad, the point I'm making to you is, if you have a pain or you get cut or you get hurt, you have a medical problem, you go to a doctor. You have a legal problem, you go to an attorney. So when you have a spiritual problem, go to somebody who is certified, who has knowledge, who has experience, that can help you release that burden, take away that darkness in your life.
Well, what you just said is great. But there's one thing. Is there a certification? No.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. And, you know, in order to have a gift and to be able to use the gift is at the beginning, people, don't think you can just have a gift one day and you could go help people the next day. It takes time. It takes training. It takes commitment. It takes sacrifice. Okay? And you're showing God Himself that you're worthy of the manifestation of the full gift. And then through trial and error, because you have to start to use it, and you're not going to be perfect at it at the beginning. You know,
It takes
so
time.
so if you go to a person that sits in their office and never goes out, where's his experience? Experience is what makes you good in anything you do in the world.
Correct.
You know, now, just to prove the point, now they used to say you have to have a master's degree or bachelor's degree to get a job. Now the employers are saying, hey, you know what? Sometimes I'm getting educated idiots out of college with no common sense. So let me put on there
Good point.
master degree and or 10 years of experience.
Greatest teacher. Shall we go to some messages?
Yeah. Okay, you're on here? There. Hello. Somebody is.
Here we go.
Okay. Good evening, Master Eric, and good evening, Zalisa.
Good evening.
Awesome program. Question. If a spiritually tied person came to you and they are untied, can that person become spiritually tied again? Or is there some form of protection gained from what you do? Thank you. You know, that's an excellent question. Now, when we untie you, I recommend, after we're done, within a week, that you get a guard. I do a protection guard that will guard you. And no, it cannot come back if you have that guard.
Okay.
But if it's your personal choice and you say, I don't need that. Well, then that's your choice.
Right.
it can come back.
Okay.
Not the same tie.
Okay. Understood.
They would go there again and pay somebody
To retire.
to retie you.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, there's a lot of people out there, and they've come to see me, right? And I said, hey, we need to clean your house, or you've got demons in the house. And it was proven.
Now, may I ask
Yeah.
you? Somebody would come to see you. By having a conversation with them, you would then understand and know deeper there's something going on in the home?
No, I'll know. There was one the other day, and it happened that my guy was on the road checking houses. And I called up and I said, hey, I need you to stop at this property. And they're sitting in front of me. And I said, when you go to the house, they'll be there in about 30 minutes. When you go to the house, I want you to walk in the front door. The kitchen is on your left. And there's going to be a big painting of their family on the right on the wall. The first door to the bedroom, I want you to check that bedroom. And when he met them there, the lady that was sitting on the couch goes, my God, how'd you know?
Well,
Now,
I also had a very personal experience. Remember, we had gone to that home. You'd never been there, right? And you just walked straight.
I went straight into it.
Never, right? And said, walked through the house, right? I was like, what? And you said, the motherboard of you remember
Yeah.
you said that? Of demons, it's right there.
right. So what I'm trying to say, and I don't want you to think we're praising me. I don't.
No.
I
I'm
don't
just
praise
sharing my personal experience.
No, but what I'm saying, the people said wow to me, but it's not all me. I give the credit to God, because God gives certain people abilities to do certain things, and if it wasn't for God, I'd be sitting behind a desk probably pushing pencils or basketballs.
You'd be doing.
All I'm trying to say, everyone, is that this is real. It's happening. But what I wanted to say is that when people came to see me,
Yeah.
and we did confirm that they had spirits in the home.
In their home, right.
Now, you've seen my wife's book, right?
No, I understand. People call
And
and say they're waiting.
They're waiting. They're
Yeah.
waiting. Well, let me tell you something. We're trying.
Yeah. and
We're
that's what I see.
doing 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah.
There was a big backlog
Yeah.
during the lockdowns of COVID.
Right.
So now I have to go all the way back
Yeah.
to that time.
And then I know you prioritize in terms of how
How serious it
yes,
is.
I know that. as
So people, do WhatsApp, keep us in there. You're in the book, okay? But again, Zelisa, like I said before, you have to prioritize. It's
Yeah.
not who comes first
well. Right.
gets it.
It's about how serious.
Now, if I have a family, or let's say a husband and wife, and they came, it's going to be done.
Yeah.
But the thing is, now a family came in. I'll give you an example.
Please.
I
is
walked
there
one.
really-
I walked one last week, and I actually walked it with my guy
Yeah.
because I sensed there was something super strong in that house.
Right.
When we walked in, they had 4 bedrooms. They weren't sleeping in none of them. The whole family sleeping on one little mattress in the bedroom on the floor. Because furniture is moving, doors are slamming. The kid, I think she was 4 years old. The father was laying here, the mother was laying here, and 2 other children on here, and the smallest one was between them. When he woke up, he saw a female figure at the end of the bed, grabbed the daughter's leg, and was dragging her off the bed.
Gosh, they're living in fear.
So what I'm saying, that takes priority.
Yes,
It's nothing against the people that's waiting,
Correct.
but you have to prioritize.
And I could understand that.
Now, the next thing, is the 10-year-old boy that we just did, that you heard of. Now, people, if you are in, Trinidad or anything like that, or you're able to watch Facebook, Zalisa's show in the morning on Synergy at 10 a.m. Next week, hopefully, we are bringing the mother on live to actually give testimony of what she went through for a year and a half. What happened spiritually, what religious leaders tried to do, and just made it worse.
First hand.
So what I'm saying, this is a program you cannot miss.
Master, I have a question that came in again with regarding the God that you spoke about, right? The question is, go right ahead.
The question that came in, is the guard something to wear?
Right.
And the question is, yes. But the answer is, when you wear it, you don't wear it up like jewelry. It should be concealed to where people cannot touch it or they cannot view it. This is for your protection.
So I'm going to further ask now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you drink alcohol?
Yes.
Can you eat meat?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in some beliefs, right, the spiritual leader will make the guard,
Right.
and then they'll say, all right, you can't eat meat with it. You can't have sex with it.
Okay.
You cannot go to funerals with it.
Oh.
I mean, okay. Look at this face. Okay. Does that make sense? The reason I'm saying that,
To take it off.
you're going to the cremation site or the burial ground, right? What's normally there? Wandering souls.
Correct.
So why would you take your protection off
Ah,
and go to a place like that?
understood.
Okay? When I make them, with God's help, you can do all of the above. You never take it off. Even if you shower, you keep it on.
Okay.
If you go swimming, you keep it on. Why? When I put what I have to inside of it, we laser seal it. No water getting in there.
Okay.
Okay? So, what I'm saying is, this is real. Now, here come another one. This is from the U.S. Okay, what about protection for your home? A guard for your home?
Very good question.
Yes, we do it, but it's not a guard. What we do there. Now, the old people, years ago, especially in the Hindu faith, they would say, I need to tie your property. Okay?
Right.
And what they do, they tie the property. And that's to
Right.
keep, supposed to,
Right.
if they do it correctly, keep the actual boundary to keep negativity out. But I found that that's not very effective.
Okay.
So what I like to do when people say they want their home protected, I seal it. And I seal it from within the house. And guess what? Nothing is going to come in that house. Nothing. There's been people where I've done it, and the demons are outside, and they're banging on the doors and the windows. They can't get in. They're locked.
Okay.
So if you have a guard on, and your home's sealed, and then I put something in your car,
Okay.
you're protected. Point A, point B, work, everywhere you go. Okay?
Let me ask this question. Can someone whom you gave that God to, can they give that God to someone else?
No.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to make a lot of people mad with this statement, so I got to be very careful how I state it. If you get a spiritual guard from a spiritual leader. And Zalisa, I don't have keys. Give me your keys. So if the spiritual leader, let's say this is the guard hanging on a chain, and he says, here you go. Now put it on.
Right.
And you're good to go.
Right.
Not going to do nothing.
Oh.
So all you spiritual leaders doing that, quit fooling people.
Okay.
You have to assign that spiritual guard to that person. And when you assign it, now I'm not going to give it too much because again, we got a lot of copycats. But you have to assign it in all directions.
So it's
To the person.
It's
It is personalized
Understood.
to you.
And it should be.
You understand?
Yeah.
But if you get one and they just hand it to you, man, you just set back that down on the desk and say, I'm going elsewhere.
So what happens if you have that card and someone steals that card from you?
This is another thing. I've had that happen. And the people called and they said, somebody took it.
Yeah.
I said, they'll have to give it back. Because no one is supposed to touch it but you.
Ah.
So they will start getting sick.
Okay.
And they will give it back. And the people who did do that, they gave it back to the people. They didn't give it back like, here, I took it. They gave it back to where they could see it.
Yeah, left
And
it
pick
somewhere.
it up. Right. They're not going to be stupid enough to say, here,
Yeah,
I took
I
it.
admit I took it.
You
Shall
know.
we go to this question, Master?
Sure. I don't know why this thing don't want to listen to me. Oh, this is what they were saying. This person knows me very well.
Okay.
It said, tell them about the story where someone took a guard off of a family member and how the guard got them sick. That's what I was just saying. So sorry, I said it before I read your question. It can make them sick.
Yeah.
Okay? So, people, don't be. I have a lot of people that live in denial, and they say they're told that if they believe in Lord Shiva, or if they believe in Jesus Christ, or they believe in Buddha, whatever, that if you pray, you're always protected. No, prayer is important.
Right.
Belief is important. But God wants to make sure you're not being stupid too. God will give you a sign, whether it's me or it could be 100 other people in the world. He'll give you a sign who to go to get your help.
Okay.
Don't think you're Superman. Because there was a spiritual leader came to me for help the other day, and he's crushed. And I looked at him and I said, do you know what got you there? Your ego. You're not Superman. You're not God himself. You are a voice talking for God.
Nice.
So be smart, people. I'm not saying that everybody should panic and be running and doing this tonight. This program is to inform you, to give you information about why people tie you. So we went from tying to infatuation to tying property or sealing property, getting rid of myths with saying if you fly over water, guess what?
It's not true.
That spirit is flying first class free. And he's going. So when you go, now, a lot of times people, it don't go on you. It will go with what you're traveling with. So it could be in your clothes. It could be anything. Okay? So, again, I want everybody just to understand. I hope you like this program. I hope, and here's another one.
If they get rid of it.
Okay, thank you for
Great
answering my question, Master Eric. I know we spoke personally about this before, and you stated that I wasn't spiritually tied. However, based on some of the symptoms you mentioned, I will make an appointment to see you and get the guard. Thank you.
Oh.
So this person has already came. Now, sometimes when people come, somebody else said that they were spiritually tied.
Yeah.
But when I meet them, Zalisa, being spiritually tied is like putting a big sign on your forehead.
Yeah.
You don't see it. But when you come into the office, by the time I say hello,
You know.
I already know. And I told this person.
But it's nice that you were honest.
Yeah, and I said, you're not spiritually tied.
Yeah.
So this person confirmed that.
Right.
You know, we're not there to make things up.
Right.
We're there to get results. So like I said, there are many different situations that have similar symptoms.
I
So-
think you need to answer this question before we wrap up. I'm looking for the answer as well.
Okay, so is that how people bring twins from other countries? So,
What is a dwen?
you tell me.
I don't know. You are the master, Eric.
Okay, are you talking a twin or a buck? There's different categories of twins.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, they can bring them spiritually, they can bring them astrally,
Wow.
and they can bring them physically.
Master, I think this should be our next topic.
Okay. Oh, she's talking about the one that grants wishes. It's almost like a little leprechaun. But yes, you can travel with them. People will get a twin. And that twin, but here's the
Is
problem.
it something that's physical or is it
Spiritual.
Ah.
Some are spiritual and they can go into physical and back to spiritual.
What?
So, but the thing is, when you have a twin, you have to take care of it. You have to feed it. You have to take care of it. And as long as you do that, they will grant you what you want. But there was a man in another country, and he had 3.
3.
Very wealthy. This man was like the number 1 man in the country. But here's the problem. He stopped taking care of it because he reached and got what he wanted. Now, it came back after him. Then, in order to appease that twin, you know, he sacrificed his child.
No.
And he ended up sacrificing 3 children and said that they were away in college in another country.
No.
And guess what? He ran out of children
This is
and they took his life.
This,
So what I'm saying, having these things, my dad always told me, I always talk about my dad, very wise man. There is no such thing as easy, quick money.
agree.
If there
Totally
is,
agree.
there is problems that come with it.
Totally agree.
If you're dabbling in things like this, right, and businesses have to feed them, etc. See, the person's right on the same sheet of music here.
I really think we should talk more about this. I think you really should do a show on this.
So
What
I'll
is a
tell you what,
dwen?
people.
What is a bug? What does it do? What does it do? You know.
Right. And what is a demon? What is a jinn?
Ah.
Right?
What is a jinn?
And what are the angels? You know, there's a lot of similarities. Even in Islam, it's the same angels, but different names. But it's the same name.
Okay.
No, it sounds the same,
Okay.
right? So I think, but what do you people think? Send us a message. If you want more information on what other spiritual entities are there? What are the spiritual entities that we've ran into in the last 30 years? Boy, we could write a book on that. So all I'm saying, everybody, it's 7 o'clock. Time went fast. But I want to say thank you so much for viewing, sending your questions. And I want everybody to just relax and think about how their life is going now. And if you have symptoms that is the norm for the economy now, don't panic.
Okay.
You know, don't let your mind run uncontrollable. I'm just giving you signs saying if you have 6 or 5 out of 6, then give us a call. But like that person that wrote, even though he came, he wasn't tied.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay? So again, wow, love this show. Thank you both for this gift of a podcast.
It was a nice gift.
You know,
I enjoyed it.
but-
I miss being here, honestly.
But see, people, I want you to understand. Do you see we just don't sit here and go blah, 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 blah. We have fun doing this. We love doing this. I love having discussions. And I love you interacting with us because it makes the show more interesting.
Correct.
But everybody, I want to say thank you for everything you've done and for being with us. And we will see you next
Before
week.
we wrap, Master, a gentle reminder, please, if you need help, reach out. Master Eric and his team will be happy to help and assist. Those numbers again, 1-868-354-4459, 1-868-497-7226. God bless. Thank you. See you soon.
The Untold Truth, every Friday at 6 p.m. The journey has just begun with Master Eric, Zalisa, a new kind of podcast getting to the root of hidden knowledge. You can join us on Facebook, Conversation with the Zalisa, and YouTube, Master Eric. Your journey has just begun.